ladies and gentlemen. This is the Big Stupid Podcast. I'm Kevin.
And I'm John.
And we're just two Gen Xers who are hiding from our wives in the basement, just trying to have fun.
Yeah, are we?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking of cutting that shit out.
Yeah, fuck that thing, man.
All
right, let's just go.
I hate saying that thing. But they tell you, like, you should have a little thing.
Who's they? Who's they?
Those they people.
Hey, listen, from day one, we were always fuck they. And you know what? We're done with that dumb shit. Because every time you throw that in,
it just feels like, fucking weird.
Like, you really fucking fuck up the flow of the show.
I do.
And like, within the first, 30 seconds, and I'm like, yo, fuck the Gen X, fuck Gen Z, fuck them all. Yo, we're just going to do what we do. Throw that, and this is the last time you're going to say that.
It is.
All right, we're just
absolutely the last time I'm going to say it.
All right, thank God.
Because I hate saying it every time, but I fucking shove it in there because,
bro,
that's what they say.
Let's be honest, no one's listening. All right, so we're two Gen Xers in the fucking basement. All right, we get it, and we're two suck.
Tonight is the last night we'll ever be two Gen Xers just stuck in the basement hiding from the wives. It's the last fucking night.
And you know what's funny? It's like every time, we were ever since you started doing that, every time you started the show, it was like we would be on a good roll for the intro, because we always start out strong.
Yeah,
and then you would be like, oh, we're just two Gen Xers in the basement. And I'm like, oh. And I was like, all right, maybe we got to do that, you know? Yeah, of course you don't, Siri.
Shut up, Siri.
And you know, it's always like one of those things like, all right, maybe it'll work, maybe it'll catch on. Yeah, no, it's not catching on. It's just bad.
We suck.
It sucks. All right, so we're gonna stop doing
it's that. So bad.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can't see Kevin, but he just put his hands over his ears and said, "It's so bad." So it is that bad.
All right.
Oh my God.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about bedtime stories.
Oh, bedtime stories. All right.
Yes.
So by the time you tell your first story, I'm going to be out cold because it took us. Wait, hold on. Let me put my glasses on because I can't see anymore.
Oh my God, you old fuck.
50 minutes to get the show started today. It took us 50 minutes to get the show started. So we're
you know what? There's a lot that goes into a show like ours. Okay.
Oh yeah. It really
all
is.
Right? You can't just throw this together. What do you think this is?
That's what we do.
What do you think this is? Tune Styles?
Oh.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we threw a jab, so
we got to throw a jab.
And since they can't fight back.
That's fucked up.
All right. So anyway, today we were talking about bedtime stories. We're talking about stories that we were told as kids. We were talking about stories that we told our kids, or we read to our kids before they went to bed. Stories that we were told before we went to bed as little children, little John, little Kevin, little big stupid podcasters that we are.
Yeah, is that right?
So you want to start off with yours, John?
Yeah, this is gonna be a very short show because I remember 0 stories read to me at night.
Wow.
I don't remember any of it. I don't remember ever being read to. Maybe they tried. I really don't know. I'm 100% honest right now. I don't remember ever being read a story to go to bed. It sounds
sad.
So sad. It really does. And it is.
It sounds like they just threw you in the room, in the bed, slammed the door, clang.
Yeah, it's
shut the
not.
fuck up
No,
and go to
no,
bed.
no. You know what? It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that either. I really just, if I was, I really, dude, I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember ever being read a story before I went to bed. Now I'm sure my mom will tell you she read me 1,000 stories, but
Yeah.
like I really don't remember it. I'm gonna be honest, but hey, shit happens. Hey, so why don't you tell us how many stories you were read as a child? Because I'm sure it's fucking awesome.
Well,
all right, let me go to sleep for a while and then wake me up in an hour.
Well, no, but here's the funny thing is that my parents did read me stories before I went to bed as a really young child.
Yeah.
And I remember, I can't like I don't know the names of them now, but like I could like describe it to you in like weird HR Puffin stuff type of ways, like,
Yeah.
recesses of my fucking memory.
Right.
But like I can remember like there's this book series, I think they're called like Little Monsters or whatever, and it's like just me and my dad and like
I remember them. I know those books. I know what you're talking about.
So like I remember, and it's so funny because my parents were like, it's almost like they didn't know how to explain life to me sometimes. So they did it like through movies and like books and like stuff like that. So like okay, I am a child of divorce. Okay.
All right.
My parents divorced when I was very, very young. And then my father got remarried. Okay. So they taught me about divorce through a movie called Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh.
Okay.
Dustin Hoffman. What we went through, son.
Dustin Hoffman and
oh my god,
what's her face? The Meryl Streep. Okay, they get divorced, and the kid has to go like back and forth, and
oh my god,
and like the father is like thinking back now, like what's his name? Dustin Hoffman in that movie was like abusive, but I mean that's how it was back in the day. Like,
before you finish, just remind me. I have one of these TV movies that I have to talk about.
All right, go ahead.
So,
are
you sure?
Yeah, and then I'll go back to mine.
All right, so these TV movies that were on.
Well, this isn't a TV movie. This is an actual film.
Yeah. No. This is like an actual documentary, basic.
Okay.
That I watched as a kid, and this basically shaped my entire life as a youth, where I would not leave my parents' side. The fact, like, I watched the Adam Walsh movie documentary.
Yeah.
And when they said they found his body in one spot and his head in another spot, that fucked me up so bad that I literally would not leave my parents' side. Like if any movie where you wanted to keep your kids at home for as long as possible, that was it. And if there's a movie where and it's a true story, it's a terrible story, but it's a true story, but where my life was basically shaped around this, where it's like it made me honestly at a young age it made me think that everything and anything I do could end in this.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just being abducted and killed. It's like stupid things you do or choices you make, or like this video, this movie changed a lot of the way changed the way I think. It is insane, but like it that really. I'm sorry, it really stuck with me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sorry I cut you off.
No.
I had to tell it because I probably would have forgotten it anyway. But you know,
well, it's funny that you mentioned the Adam Walsh thing because they taught me another lesson through a movie called Without a Trace.
Oh no! Oh no!
Without a Trace was a don't leave your mommy and daddy's side or somebody will fucking take you.
and basically kill you and separate your head from your body.
Well, no. Yeah. This was actually it actually had a happy ending because they
did it?
Well, they found the kid and they I mean it wasn't that long. It wasn't like it was like years. It was like whatever. But it was that scary fucking thing. Like, hey, strangers can take you and do shit and whatever. So, but I mean, I fucking learned that in kindergarten. Like, what the fuck?
I know. And you know what's funny? Going back to the other thing, it's like I remember being in a department store, and all I remember, like I was like looking at something. And all I remember is like I think my mom was like, "You want to wind up like Adam?" And I'm like, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I wandered off and I was looking at Star Wars toys. Just dude, it's so it's hard to interpret what, dude. And that was just ingrained in my head. Dude, I'm talking like young. Oh, shut up, fucking Sarah! I gotta take this watch off. Sorry.
I was in a department store with my parents, or maybe it was just my mom, but I was they have like coats on like a big circular rack. Yeah. I hid inside that rack in the middle of the rack, and so like she thought I fucking disappeared, and I thought it would be funny that when she called my name that I didn't say anything.
It's hysterical. Dude, that is hysterical. Looking as a parent now, dude, tell me how great that is. Oh my god. Woo!
I would have flipped out.
I would have lost my fucking mind.
So she did.
But wait.
So she did.
Go ahead and finish.
Just saying, she lost her fucking mind, fucking went ape shit on me. Go on.
After watching the shit that we watched back in the day, I never let my kids out of sight.
Oh yeah.
It is a fucking nightmare. Like trying to keep track of them. And dude, to this day, it is so hard. And my kids are a lot older than your kids right now.
Yeah.
And now, like my oldest, he's 13. He wants to go and do stuff. You don't know how hard it is to let him go.
Oh, I do, because I have a 16-year-old.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting about it. Yeah, but well, God.
But now my kids are at park age. So they're like, take me to the park, and then I'm like, okay, and then all of a sudden, and I've got 3 of them, and they're scattered around because they don't want to play with each other. They want to like, oh, I want to be on the swings. I want to be on the slide. I want to go on the monkey bars. I'm like, stay the fuck together.
Yeah, no, that ain't happening. That ain't happening, man.
So,
oh boy.
So that and it's only about 30 seconds, but that 30 seconds that you don't see that one kid, you're like, what the fuck? Where'd they go? And you just scan the entire park, and I don't know how you do it in that 30 seconds, but you just like
you find them all. You find them all.
Yeah. I you know how many times I head count my kids the entire time I'm there?
It's insane.
But it's like
we went to Vanson Park once. I only had the tool.
Yeah, that's right by me.
Dude, that playground is so big at Vanson Park. I was like, I can't do this. I pulled them out. I'm like, we gotta go. I told them we gotta go.
I told Jennifer there's this I think it's in fuck, I forget where it is, but it's Ridgewood. I don't know, but it's not that far from me.
Yeah.
And she calls it the duck pond because it's where
the duck pond. Everybody knows the duck pond.
Yeah. So she goes and she runs, she would run around.
Yeah.
And I would bring the kids and they would play on the playground. But the playground it's not huge. Like it's not a vast area, but it's tall.
Yeah.
All right. Because they have like levels. And it's got these green bars, like railings.
Yeah.
But these green bars, and because they're green and because they're so close together, I can't always see the kids. Like
Okay.
they're like running, because the bars are tall and they run, and I'm like, they get lost. I lose them in the green shit, and I'm like, oh, and then all of a sudden they disappear behind a wall on the thing, and I'm like, well, wait, and then there's a slide on the other side of the thing, and I'm like, oh my god, it's just a constant anxiety attack, and I'm like, I'm not fucking taking these kids there anymore. So bedtime stories.
Yes, as we we totally went off track.
All right.
Oh, just due to the fact of my shitty upbringing, but go ahead.
All right. So my parents, when I was very young, they used to read me like the little golden books,
I remember those.
So it was that, like there was one that was like, it was like Mickey Mouse and like I don't know if it's Mickey's nephews or if it's Mickey's kids or what, but they look like little baby Mickeys.
Yeah.
And it was the Ma and her kids, the bandits from like DuckTales.
Yeah.
All right. They were there, and there was some mysterious like crystal ball that they were like stealing, and like Mickey had it. I don't know, whatever the frig it was, but that was one of the books.
All right.
So there was that. There was the Amazing Mumford had a book from Sesame Street, the magician.
Right. Jesus Christ!
Peanut butter sandwiches.
Oh my God, Jesus! How the fuck do you remember that one? Jesus.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, so what would happen is, I had a thing about Sesame Street, and to this day, it has a place in my heart. Like, I don't know what, but like, I really love Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And what do you call it? So I used to watch it religiously every day, and it came on like two or three times a day.
Yeah.
So I watched it every day, and I learned a lot of shit just by watching Sesame Street before I even got to kindergarten.
Right.
All right. I went into kindergarten day one, and the teacher pulled my parents aside, and she was like, he could read. And my parents are like, yeah, he's been reading for like quite a while now.
Right.
So what happened was, my parents used to read to me, and then I got to a point where I was reading, and they were like, here's a bunch of books.
Yeah, shut the fuck up and
read yourself to sleep. So I read like a shit ton of books.
Yeah.
Myself. You know, so I remember reading all of these books. And it's funny because I can't tell you, my mother sat there and read The Cat in the Hat to me.
Yeah.
But I know she did. Like I don't remember it. I don't remember an instance, but I remember her reading to me.
Yeah.
I know I had that book, so I had some point. But I do remember, and I'm gonna talk about it later because it's gonna be my favorite one. But my grandmother, I remember my grandmother reading to me, and I'll talk about that later. But so yeah, my books when I was a kid. So like I said, it was little golden books, Mickey Mouse, Sesame Street. I can't. Oh, the Little Monsters thing. Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
So that was like my experience with reading those books.
Right.
What about you?
What, me reading?
Well, or your parents reading to you or whatever.
I already told you they never did.
They never did, not even once.
Dude, honestly,
remember?
I'm gonna be honest. I can't remember a single instance. I'm gonna say, like, I can't say they didn't, but like, I don't remember. I remember having books. I remember looking at the pictures. I mean, I used to always flip through the pictures and look at the books.
Yeah.
I remember I went to work with my dad when I was really young, and he used to take me to work when he would work late at night or whatever, and he read me a book one time at this office that they had like books for kids or whatever, and what was it? Oh my god, I can't remember. It was a book where it was in North Arlington too, and I'm trying to dig deep, and I really can't remember what the book was, but there was a name in the book, and like it was like supposed to be pronounced one way, but he pronounced it the wrong way, kind of on purpose. And we just laughed our asses off about that.
That's awesome.
And we're just laughing, and every time like we would go to that place, he would actually read me that book.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
I do remember that. And if you give me actually that memory just popped in my head. That's why I can't remember, because like all these things we're talking about, it's like triggering a whole bunch of shit. And that's the one thing. I'll let you go for a little bit, and I'll tell you like in a few minutes I'll remember it. Go ahead.
All right. So there's we used to read to. Now you said your experience reading to your children was a nightmare.
Well, no, everything is a nightmare, but like reading was the one thing that actually went well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It actually, bedtime was the one thing we were very strict on, because they were nightmares, and like when bedtime was time, there was no. This was it.
Yeah.
8 o'clock, you're in bed, or even before sometimes. It was like, this is it. I put up with your shit all day.
Yep.
You are done. There is no 5 more minutes. There is no 10 more minutes. There is no 1 more minute. Like, it's 8 o'clock. Go upstairs and get the fuck to bed. That's basically what it was like in our house. All right. And it's one thing that like I hear other people like that have kids, my age or in the past or whatever. And it was very flexible, where they're like, oh, well, 5 more minutes, finish the show, or let them do this. There was none of that. And the problem is, though, my kids dictated to us very early that they get zero, like,
chances,
like leeway.
Yeah, I guess.
There's no leeway. All right, 8 o'clock. I don't give a fuck what you're doing. You're going to bed. And it was like that for a very long time, because they dictated it. Anyway.
All right. Well, when Juliana was a baby, okay, Jennifer and I would go into her room, my wife Jen.
Yeah, your wife Jen.
We would go into her room, and we would sit her, like she would sit in my lap, okay, and Jen would read, and she would show Juliana the pictures, and Juliana would like touch the book and look at the pictures, and then we would turn the page, then we'd read the next page. Sometimes Daddy would read, you know, and as she started to get older, she would like follow along because she started to get like she couldn't read, but she knew what was coming next because she knew the story so well.
Because she memorized.
Yeah.
She basically memorized the story.
So I remember reading to her Llama Llama Red Pajama.
All right.
Okay. So it was like Llama Llama, Mrs. Mama. She puts him to bed, and he's like all afraid in the dark. And she's washing dishes downstairs, and he wants water. And he's like, "Where's Mama?" And Mama comes upstairs, and she's like, "Llama Llama, I had enough of your llama drama." Like all this stuff. This is Llama Llama Red Pajama by Anna Dewdney.
All right.
And it was really cute, and it was entertaining for her. The pictures like were like really bright and expressive and whatever, and she loved it. And after a while, she started to know what was coming next, and she would do that. So my first one that I really loved reading to Julie was Llama Llama Red Pajama. So
all right.
So now you.
All right. So other than what my parents did, reading we actually read to the kids every night, whether it was me or Jen or like not both of us. It was always like it's your night. And it's like fuck. And then when it's not your night and the other person's up there, you're like, yeah, fuck you. So that's basically what it was like. It was it was like that, And I'm just gonna go by the heavy hitters of like for some reason kids enjoyed this book. It was called Too Many Toys.
Okay.
I don't know who the hell wrote it, but basically it was a story about a kid. He had a shit ton of toys and it was just overwhelming the house. Parents are stepping on toys, tripping on toys. Everybody's tripping on toys. And eventually the mom's like, that's it. You have too many toys. You need to get rid of some. And the kid's like, what? He's like, you want me to choose how to get, like, you really want me to pick this out? So the kids start bargaining. He's like, I'll give you, 2 of these for 1 of these. And, it was just, it was basically, a totally, a total story about a subliminal message where the parents probably wrote a story and then said, we're going to get it in the kid's head that they got to get rid of their shit because they have too much shit.
Yeah.
So that's basically the idea behind that one. And as we all know, as parents, that's not always that easy. I think our parents get more attached to the kids' things than the kids do sometimes.
Oh, a lot of times.
Yeah. And it's, what's funny? It's that middle of the age shit, where it's like, baby toys, sometimes there's that one toy, you gotta hold on to, but a lot of times baby toys, they're just, come and go.
Yeah.
But then there's always those things that, like, I was doing it the other day. I have 8 Tupperware things stacked up right now. And I'm looking at them right now, and it's all full of things that my kids used to play with. And in some of those bins are some of the things that I used to play with when I was younger. All right, like Hot Wheel cars and things like that, and Thomas the Train, and all these things. And I'll be damned. I have a whole bin of Little People, the original Little People.
Oh, nice.
There is no way in hell I'm getting rid of them.
Of course not.
You know what I mean? So it's certain things you can get rid of, and if my wife's a butcher, like if it was up to her, she'd throw everything out, and I just can't.
Yeah,
I just can't.
My wife is better at throwing shit away than I am.
Yeah.
But she does every once in a while. She's like, no, that can't be touched.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of times I'm like, wait, you're throwing that away? Like, she's like, shut the fuck up. The kids. I'm like, yeah, but no, you can't throw
Yeah, I
that
know.
away.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, but why? And I have to like defend it, you know?
I know.
And
It's hard.
but don't you remember? Like she would sit down and she'd sing this little song with it, or whatever. And, and she'd be like, "All right, fuck it, okay." Like she does shit when I'm not around, so I don't fucking take the stuff out of the garbage.
Yeah.
A lot of
I
times
know.
the kids could be like, "Fine," but there are a lot of things that I get sentimentally attached to, and I'm like, "But no, you can't."
It's tough, man.
When Juliana was a baby, we had the one room that led to the deck.
Yeah.
That room, before it became our like office or whatever,
Yeah.
it was her playroom, and we had
Right.
we had it set up fucking awesome. Since we only had one kid who barely moved, it was everything had a place.
Yeah.
And literally, when Jen would go in and literally put her down to sleep at night, swaddle her, put her down, or not swaddle, because that, but change her,
Yeah.
put her down. I would be in the toy room putting everything away, but like not like, oh, I'm gonna put this in her toy chest. I'm gonna set her tea set up so that tomorrow when she goes to play with it, there's the teacup and there's the tea kettle and like whatever.
Yeah.
I would set up her little people, and I'm like, all right, and I would connect everything back together again, and I would put the little figurines in it, whatever. And like that was my job, and like it was picture perfect. The rug was clean, everything, whatever. And like so then when it came time to start throwing shit away, like I would just remember like sitting there, Juliana's a baby, and here I am like putting everything away, like things that I took care to save for her. And like I remembered the shit that she played with, because that's the stuff that I had to clean up all the time. There was stuff on the side that she didn't touch, and whatever.
Then you're good with getting rid of that,
Yeah. But there were certain things that I'm like, you can't touch that.
Yeah, and there are certain things my parents saved me that, like, to this day I still have, from when I was younger, with whatever it was it, and there was some sentimental shit, like with them as well, and it's just like a tough thing to like get over sometimes. It really is.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about bedtime stories, which we're doing nothing about, which I love it. I love it because this is what we do.
Yeah.
And like this is the thing that the stories actually trigger in our head,
Yeah.
is all the things, with our kids growing up, and now the kids are getting older, and all these things that we're trying to, as parents, like we're in our 40s, we're early 40s, mid 40s. No, but still, you have a 16-year-old daughter, I have a 13-year-old kid, but then you got a bunch of little ones too.
Yeah.
So you're still in the little one phase. I'm out of it. I got a 13 and an 11-year-old, and they're two of the shittiest kids on earth. Like attitude wise, and once again, a redeeming factor of all this is that a bunch of the people I work with have kids right around the same age, and they say the same shit, that they are assholes at this age, just complete shitty assholes.
Just shitty people.
They are. They really are. And if you've ever dealt with 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, they are assholes. I think 13, 14 is right now is the worst, because this is like the big step in, like, I'm not a kid, and I'm not an adult, I'm not a teen, really, even though you're 13, 14, you're still a little fucking twerp. But like I'm awkward as shit. I got pimples. I fucking just grew 10 inches, you know, and you're like, what? And I'm looking at him like, what the fuck is going on? And he's looking at me. He's like, yo, fuck you, dad. And I'm like, oh my God. It's, oh boy. I feel like I'm in therapy right now. Are we talking about stories or am I in therapy?
Hey,
I
man.
really feel like I'm in therapy.
Stories, you know.
All right. Anyway, what's your next story?
All right, my next story is Brown Bear by Bill Martin Jr. All right, and this is one of them that we read to all the kids. All right.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites because it was the quickest.
Shit. Brown Bear, you know, goes through the whole thing. Brown Bear, what do you see? Ooh. I see a goldfish looking at me.
Fuck yeah.
So that was another one that both kids, as they got older, they obviously couldn't read it, but they memorized what was what was coming up and whatever. And what I liked about this was I used to teach them like what a dog was, what a bear was, what this was, that was goldfish, and what the colors were. So I was trying to teach them as, like what color is this? And they loved it and they knew what was coming and and they read along with us, and I loved it. And and it's funny because I never like these stories. What's funny is like I said, my parents read me stories when I was a kid, but not like I don't know, the classic stories, not like the ones that like everybody's like, oh, you got to read this one and you have to read this one. And they read this to me when I was a kid. I never had that.
Yeah.
I had these like random books, which I fucking loved, and I'm not saying like my parents are like bad fucking parents for not reading me the classic whatever.
Yeah.
But like when Jen and I were having kids and starting to try and collect these books, I'm looking for these random like books, and she's like, oh, we have to get Brown Bear and we have to get this one and we have to get, and I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, this is like the book. And I'm like, what do you mean the book? I'm like, don't you just read whatever? She's like, no. She's like, look, there's a stamp on it. And it says it's the fucking scholar, whatever, gold medal winning. What? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I never had that. I was like, give me a little golden book and I'm happy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But those little golden books actually had longer paragraphs than a lot of the
they were
that are out today. Those are like almost legit books. Like they were like long.
I used to read a Star Wars Episode 7 book, little golden book, to Kevin to put him to bed. And he loved it. He used to want me to read it every night.
Right.
And it took so long. All right. It took so long that I literally stopped it in the middle somewhere. I'm like, up tomorrow we're gonna read the rest of this one, because I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, get the fuck to sleep.
Go to fuck to sleep.
I was like, this is just like, I can't, because like what would happen is he would stop me on every page. He'd be like, Dad, what's that? And I'm like, that's the Star. I'm like, that's the Star Destroyer. Dad, what's that? I'm like, that's BB-8. I'm like, and like I couldn't believe how long it was.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and what's funny is because I was so exhausted. Do you know how many times I would fall asleep reading the book?
Yep. Listen, I know, because we all know having kids are exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right, so that I got my llama and Brown Bear. What's your next one?
All right, I just want to make a little comment about Brown Bear. Because that was in my arsenal, and because it was like we got to read. I think that we had to read like 3 to 4 books a night. It was like I think we had some ridiculous thing.
Oh wow.
And definitely Brown Bear was on the arsenal. And just thinking back to Brown Bear. All right, Brown Bear obviously is a book where like your child will be able to pick it up and look at it and pretend to read it.
Yes.
Right? It's one of those, and it's like, oh my God, my kid could read. No. Dickhead. They memorized you reading it because it's obvious there's a fucking purple fucking cat on the fucking page. All right. And it's fucking obvious. But here's the fucking brilliance of this book that, like there's a lot of different theories on how people read. Like remember phonics back in the day?
No,
Phonics is
I don't remember,
phonics,
but I was hooked on it.
Phonics is basically gone, and like people have studied that you read through like memorizing words. You don't read like with phonics. Maybe a word you don't know, you like sound out with phonics, but like you basically look at a word and you know what it is, without like the word because. You're not like because you're looking at that word, you're like, I know that word's because you've already done it and thinking. So I think Brown Bear is one of those books where it's like this is the kid's first like legit chance to actually sight read, where it's like like they're gonna see words at the top of it like Brown Bear, oh, it's gonna fucking stick in their head, just because of the simplicity of the book and the simplicity of the pictures. All right, anyway, I'm sorry.
No, you're right, and it also gives them the illusion that they're reading.
Yes,
which makes them fall in love with reading.
Yes,
they're like, look at me, I can read.
And eventually they're gonna look at those words and be like, oh shit, that says Brown Bear, Brown Bear. What did you see? You know what I mean? It's gonna click in their fucking head. All right, so I'm gonna go on. We had a lot of Dr. Seuss books with the kids, and one of the books they really did like, it's a book that had caught a lot of controversy lately, was Mulberry Street.
Okay.
We read I've read that to them many times. That was one of their favorite books, and the reason that they liked that book was because of
they're little racists.
No, not at all.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's terrible. It's a children's book.
Well, I honestly, dude, you told me about this, and I was like, and I asked you, I'm like, what was that? And you're like, oh, it was a book that was canceled, and I still right now don't even know what.
There was one line in the book. All right, so basically the book is the kid is on his way home from school, and every day his dad asks him, what did you see on your way home from school? And so on all Dr. Seuss books, it builds into this from a very simplistic like idea into a gigantic like elaboration of a story, where it went from like a simple walk home to like I saw all this crazy shit, and it's a build upon a build upon a build upon. And next thing you know, there's a fucking parade and there's a fucking carnival, and so a lot of the books that he had, that basically, what he was doing. It was just like an imagination of a child, and the thing that was what got very upset about this book was there was a line where it's like they said a Chinese man eating with sticks,
Okay.
and that's what it was, and a big magician doing tricks, and it was just like part of the thing,
But what I guess the way the Chinese man was drawn,
the way he was drawn, and he was holding a cup with noodles, and he had the sticks. with the noodles, and but once again, it was all about the elaboration of the story, where it went from like, no, I just saw a cart with a horse and a wagon on Mulberry Street,
Yeah.
to, oh my God, I saw this parade, and then I saw all this, and I saw all these different, cult, and I think what he was going for all these different cultures and all these different things that I've seen. Maybe I don't truly understand it, but like, it was kind of like, and he hit everything. It was just like, it was like really cool. And there was like some like kind of like India references where Taj upon his throne, and everything like that. But once again, it was just kind of like, a big elaboration of a story, and it is what it is, but
So you used
with
to read that to them
all the time. Yeah, it was one of their favorites, So
let me let me tell you this story. Another fucking tangent we're about to go on.
Oh boy.
So about a week or two ago, Jennifer gets a phone call.
All right.
And it's the director of Allison's daycare.
Okay.
And she's like, I got to talk to you about an incident that happened at school today with Allison. She got into like a little argument with a I think it was a little boy. She had gotten into an argument with him, and it was over a doll.
Okay.
And he had one doll, and Allison wanted it, and he gave her another doll, and she didn't want that doll. And the reason that the teacher was calling us was because it was a black doll.
Okay.
So that she was like, we just have to talk about this because it's an issue, whatever. And Jennifer was like, what the hell? Like, why is Allison rejecting this like black doll? Like,
yeah.
And what do you call? The director sat down with the teacher, and she was like, let me show you this. She was like, let me show you this Facebook post. And it's my daughter, okay, at the Black Lives Matter rally, holding up a sign that says Black Lives Matter. So she's like, I don't really think that this is like, that this has, like, I don't think this is an issue. So she's like, but we have to make sure that this is not, whatever. So Jennifer is like devastated. She's like, I can't believe that, so she sits down with Allison and she interrogates her about the doll.
Yeah.
And she's like, why didn't you want to play with the doll? And she's like, because it was wearing this type of clothes. She's like, oh, because it was ugly. And we're like, oh fuck.
Oh God.
And she's like, because it had this clothes on, and I wanted to be wearing like the princess dress or whatever. And I don't know if it was like a boy doll or whatever it was, but she gave all these different reasons, and not one of them had anything.
One of them had to do anything with that.
But it was like, so like Jennifer was like so fucking relieved. She was like, oh my God, like thank God that she's not like seeing this and like portraying it, But like the director was like, when the teacher told me this, she's like, I had to show her the picture of Allison at the Black Lives Matter rally. She's like, because there's no way, like she's not, there's no way she's not being taught that at home or whatever. And she's just not like, and Allison, out of everybody, loves everyone, no matter, no matter what. Does. So it was just like Jen's heart dropped when she got the call. And then once like she started interrogating her, it all made sense.
Right.
So but yeah, it just your story just made me think of that.
Right. That's funny.
All right, hold on.
Oh boy.
All right, so my next one, the Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Oh yeah, that's on everybody's
by
list.
Eric Carle. Now again, never read that when I was a kid, but Jennifer's like, gotta have it. It's one of the classics. I'm like, okay. You're the first grade teacher. So, Very Hungry Caterpillar, for those of you that don't know, it's about a little caterpillar that was born from a little tiny egg on a leaf. And then it pops out of the little egg and it becomes a caterpillar. And the caterpillar is very, very hungry because it needs to grow. So it starts to eat everything. It eats the leaf. All right. Then it finds a picnic, I guess, because it goes through like candy and fucking ice cream and whatever.
That motherfucker eats everything.
Everything. All right. So, and then at the very end, it gets nice and fat and it makes a cocoon around itself. And then it turns out to be a beautiful butterfly. All right.
That fucking story sucks.
So I like that story because again, it's teaching the kids like what all this stuff is. What does a plum look like? What does a lollipop look like? What does a slice of pie look like? What do strawberries look like? And it's like on this day, the Very Hungry Caterpillar ate one blah blah blah. On this day, it ate 2 oranges and it ate 3 plums. So it goes through all the stuff. So it's teaching them how to count, because I would stop and I would say, all right, count the plums, and they would count them up. All right, count this, but count them up. And I would point at the picture and say, what is that? So it was a lot of recognizing, stuff and what it was, and counting the number of items and whatever. But it was another one that was something that they could memorize. And I would go, but he was still, and like they would go, hungry.
Yeah.
I remember Juliana did it, Kevin did it, and Allison all said hungry.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when it becomes a butterfly, we had the book that was like big.
Oh, that popped. Yeah.
No, not it wasn't a pop-up. It was just a really big book.
Yeah.
So what would happen was at the end, when it became a butterfly, I would take it by the spine and I would make it like flap up and down, so it would look like the butterfly is like flying, and they fucking loved that shit. They ate that shit.
That's awesome.
All right, so what's your next one?
What number are you on?
1, 2, 3. I did.
Are you 3? Am I on 3 or 4?
I think I started, so I think you're on 3.
Oh, fuck, I got a couple more. What's funny? Like you mentioned Eric Carle, and we had a bunch of his books.
So do we.
Yeah. I remember there was a rubber duck one. I don't remember the story because it's been like a long time since I've read it.
I think that one has to do with counting too.
Yeah. It was like a story about a rubber duck, and it was like not a real rubber duck, and I think there was other real ducks around it. I can't remember the story, but I remember reading that one. And like the whole listen, it was. I'm talking. It's been like a long time since I read my kids' stories. I'm not gonna lie, and that was definitely one. This is a terrible description of anything we're trying to talk about right now. But I remember we had a bunch of Eric Carle stories, and I'm just gonna like hang that out there. That like I would pick one because they were quick and easy to read. because I had to read 4. You're getting 4 of the quickest ones.
Yeah. That's one thing that we didn't do. We didn't sit there and read an arsenal of books.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we threw a second one in there, but like we would not sit there with a stack of books and just.
But we didn't have a stack of books. We had to read 4. We read 4 a night, and it's just kind of what we did. And I picked the quickest ones, and Eric Carley books were simple, easy, and because I was fucking tired, and they were nightmares, and it was just like, oh God, just go to fuck to bed.
All right, so our next one for me, again, all 3 of the kids, they loved Goodnight Moon, which is like to me, I think that's like the one. Yeah, that's like the one everybody has to have.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I don't think I had this book. I don't think I was read this book by my parents, but there were certain parts of that book when I first started reading it to the kids that like little synapses were sparking in the back of my head. And I was like, somebody read this book to me.
Right.
Like somebody when I was a kid read this shit to me. So this is another one. In the great big room, there was a blah 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 blah. All right. And I would make the kids respond, and I would say, and there was blank, and there were 3 little bears, and they would go sitting on chairs. All right, so like they would do like the response, and that was pretty cool. Again, having them involved with it, and thinking that they're reading and stuff like that. In Where's the Mouse that's in the little house, like all that stuff. I would have them find that stuff. Where's the red balloon? Goodnight Moon. That's the one. Like we used to read that a lot.
Yeah.
That got a lot of wear and tear, and we had like 4 copies of it. One was like a giant copy. One was like the smaller, like pocket-sized version of it.
Yeah.
So, what's your next one?
How many I got left? 2?
Yes, because I'm gonna do my last one next, and then you do your last one.
All right. So I remember one of the ones we read every night when they were really little was "I Love You Through and Through."
Ooh, okay.
And it's basically a book. I love you through and through, of your top side and your bottom side, and your just all about everything that we love about you, and things like that. So it was once again another quick story, just I love you through and through. It's one of those things like that. And as the kids got older, we just stopped reading that one because we're like, oh God,
just
guys suck, Yeah. But I remember Jen reading that to the kids a lot. I read it to them too, and no, it was there. It was there.
It was there.
It was there. All right, guys.
So my last one, okay, is a book that was read to me when I was a kid. And it was read to me by my grandmother, my grandma Betty. And I used to go stay with her and my grandfather for like a week at a time or whatever. She lived in Jersey City, and she lived in this apartment building, and I would sleep in this one room. It was like their guest room. And it was kind of scary. I was in the dark, and the door closed, and they had like a nightlight, but it was still fucking scary as shit. And they here's something kind of weird. Okay. in this room, okay,
All right.
there was like a bookshelf or like a dresser, or I don't know, whatever it was. But they had pictures on them. Okay. And one of them was of my mother.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
But real mother.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Bio mom. And she so she wasn't around a lot when I was like
Yeah.
when the divorce like first happened, she wasn't really around a lot,
Right.
so like I didn't really recognize her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
and I didn't recognize her from this picture. And I think one of the reasons is I think she might not have had her glasses on, and I really just I really remember her wearing glasses a lot.
Glasses.
Um and 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 I think her hair was different, because I think she had longer hair when I remembered her, but in the picture she had like this weird short haircut that almost looked like a mullet, but it wasn't.
Yeah. I
It
get
wasn't
what
in the
you're saying.
80s, so whatever. And she looked real young, and the picture was like taken almost like, I guess it was like at like like one of those Sears places where they had like a backdrop,
Yeah.
but it was almost like the backdrop was like black, and there was like that like single like reflection of light on her face, like almost like it was candlelight.
Right.
So the picture looked fucking creepy as hell. Here's this woman who I barely know, like, whatever. And like, I feel like she's like looking at me, and like, she's in this, like, she's in like the dark. She's like in the shadows.
Ah, she's got a mullet.
Yeah, it was so fucking weird.
That's funny.
So my grandmother used to come in and read. She used to read like a whole shit ton of stories to me.
Yeah.
And like she used to sit on the bed. Oh, and we said our prayers. She used to make me say my prayers with her, and then we would read. And she used to read a shit ton of stuff to me, and that would make me feel better, sleeping in the bed in that room. And by the time she was done, I would kind of be knocked out. But my favorite one that she used to read to me was one called Farmer Grover.
All right. Oh, yeah, I know that one.
All right. So
yeah. It was kind of like a golden book too.
It's
right?
almost, yes. It could,
Yes,
I think
yeah.
yeah. But it was kind of shaped like it was not shaped like Grover, but it was like his head and like the pitchfork, like he had a pitchfork. It was like kind of cut out around it.
Okay, totally different book then.
Yeah, it was almost like a board book.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm Farmer Grover." Well, I'm just putting on the voice.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it talked. But he was like, "I'm Farmer Grover, and I'm gonna do everything the farmers do." And like he was like pulling the wagon and like doing like all this stuff. And it's like the 70s. And the book, I just looked it up. The book actually came out in 77.
Nice.
The very first printing of it. And again, this is a Sesame Street book, and Grover was my favorite growing up. And I just loved this book. And he would be like, "Oh, and I remember like they were like ducks or like geese or something, and they were like, "Are you our mother?" And he's like, "No, I'm not your mother." But he did all this. He would act out and do all this stuff that the farmers were supposed to do. And I just absolutely loved that book. The illustration was awesome. It's a Sesame Street book. And as a matter of fact, let me the writer of the book, his name is Norman Stiles. And Norman Stiles was a writer on Sesame Street. So it's not like some random dude just wrote, a Sesame Street book. It was it was like Sesame Street itself was writing this book.
Right.
So it was like perfect, and I loved it, and it got me to sleep, and it gave me comfort, and I absolutely love that book.
Right.
All right, your final one.
All right, my final one. All right, this would be the book and the only book I would read because it was very long. All right, to the kids, and they both genuinely liked it, and it was a fun read, and to this day I still enjoy this book. I would just flip through it myself sometimes and just look at the pictures and just go through it quickly. It was Dr. Seuss, If I Ran the Circus.
Ooh.
All right. So like this book is one of the books that the kids really, really liked, and they really enjoyed listening to, and they really enjoyed, just the um what's the word for it? It's like an elaborate, once again, another big elaboration of a story. Basically the book starts out where a kid, he's like, oh man, look at this, old lot, Sneelock's store. It's just, he's just got this shitty store, and this open lot. I'll clean this up and I'll do a circus, right? And I'll call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the supreme of the, and so basically it starts out where it's like, I'm gonna go into this old abandoned lot and I'm gonna put on a circus, and every page builds upon builds upon builds, and you just keep getting, and the circus gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's just elaborating this entire story where it just becomes the biggest thing ever, in the world. And what the one thing I liked about it was the guy, like there was the guy who owned the lot. His name was Sneelock, and basically this kid would do all this crazy stuff. He'd have all the wild animals, like all the Dr. Seuss books, and like how the Dr. Seuss books would have the made up animals, type thing. So he would have them in the circus, and then like all of a sudden he throws Sneelock in, and he's like, he's gonna jump through fire, or he's gonna do this, and so like he would, like he'd lay there, because he's got nerves of steel, and he'd put him in all these crazy things. Then he'd go back to these wild animals. Then he'd go back to Sneelock, and he's gonna jump, off of 30-foot tower and jump down, because that's what he does, because that's his job, not mine, And these, like, the workers love work, just work us, please work us, it was the Circus McGurkus, and it was just like, it's just like a cool, like, it's a cool story, it's a cool book, and that they fucking loved it, and I loved reading it because it's one of those stories that, like, you can tell I'm getting excited about
it.
And it's just like one of those things where that was the book that I read to them the most. Now, Jen would tell you, my wife Jen would tell you a different story of the book she read to them.
Your wife,
but my wife Jen. But for me, that was the story. That was the one. That was the book. That was the one that I always read to them. And they loved it. So anyway.
Nice. All right. I have one honorable mention.
Okay.
It's neither a book that was read to me, nor did I ever read it to my children. But I remember in the time that we were like buying books to read to the kids.
Right.
I was looking through these different children's books to read, and I came across this one, and it's called Love You Forever, written by Robert Munsch and Sheila McGraw. And I was like, oh, this seems like a cute little book.
Right.
So I started reading it we were in like Barnes and Noble. So I start reading it, and it's a really beautiful book that goes through um the mom is like raising this kid, and she's like, I love you forever. And like when she's like a little baby, and then the kid starts to get like a little older, and she's like, will you love me when I'm doing this or whatever?
Ew,
And
you like
she's like,
this? I know this book.
so wait.
Stop.
So I'm reading this, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool, because it's it's as the kid's getting older, so the kids are learning about growing up and whatever. And all of a sudden, it takes a fucking turn on me. And the last page is the mom is now
Dead.
old, not dead.
Basically.
Yeah, old. And the daughter or the son, whichever one it is holding the mother. And the son now says, I love you forever. And I was bawling. I was bawling.
I know this book.
In the middle of Barnes and Noble. And here's the thing. It was one of those, I didn't see it coming. Right? I didn't, because who does that? Who does that?
Dude, the fucking mom snuck in the fucking adult's house and was hugging her adult son in this fucking book. I know this book. It was the fucking creepiest fucking book on earth. All right. Well, I know. And
I saw it funny. Differently.
Jen's sister, that she read this to her kid every night. I know this book. And I was like, I have this book. And I'm telling her, I go, this book is fucked up. I go, there's problems. I go, the people that wrote this book have problems. I go, this is not a good book. It was terrible. All right, go on.
So I started reading it, and at the end, when it just changes on me,
yeah,
it was like I'm reading it, and then I was just like, like it hit me out of nowhere, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like, I can't buy this book with my kids. Oh my god.
Yo, there was none of that with me. I was like, what the fuck am I reading? I swear to God. Jen was like, she brought this book home, and she's like, oh my God, my sister loved reading this to her kid. And I'm like, all right, let's give it a go. All right, let me look through it. Let me look at it. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. All right, that's cool. All right, he's a little bit older. That's cool. And then, oh wow, he's kind of older now. That's cool. When she creeped in his fucking room as an adult and was like cradling him, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then she got old, and then he had to do it to her. I'm like, oh God. I was like, oh no. And I'm like, oh fuck, mom's gonna die. You know, it's like one of those weird things. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. It was terrible. I'll send you pictures tomorrow. I'll make your ball at work.
So listen. It says, Love You Forever, the beloved book by Canadian author Robert Munsch about a parent's overwhelming love for their child, is a staple on children's bookshelves around the world, in Canada and beyond. It's also, if you happen to have read it recently, perhaps better understood as an allegory, because one part of the story, lovely as it is, stretches credibility just a little. The beginning, where the mom repeatedly tells her baby how much she loves him, even when he's being super annoying, that's adorable. The end, when the son is grown up and sings to his ill mother and then to his own baby, unspeakably moving. But it's the middle, the part where the son is a grown adult living on his own, and the mom will occasionally sneak into his bedroom to check on him and sing him a lullaby. That's kind of weird. And
Is that not what I just said?
So wait. It says enter Topher Fixed It, Atlanta-based playwright Topher Payne's project to provide alternate endings to classic kids books that might inadvertently pass on some not altogether healthy ideas. Payne is a big fan of Munch's original book, he told HuffPost. It's a beautiful story, he said. When the mother's actions are taken metaphorically, it expresses a parent's boundless love for their child and the desire to nurture and offer affection at all stages of the child's life. But when taken literally, it's a bit iffy, to say the least, especially because of the implication that the son will repeat his mom's slightly creepy behavior. It sets up the cycle of behavior repeating itself in the end, Payne said. Clearly, the son is inheriting his mother's routine and presumably her ladder. That's just chilling. So he's writing. He's writing or wrote an alternate ending to fix what's so fucked up about that book. But yeah, I got it. I got it a different way when I was reading it, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh yeah. Did you? You know what's funny? You're talking about like weird shit like that and alternate endings. I remember Sesame Street used to have some weird shit on it. You know, I remember Sesame Street would have like how can I say it? Like street artists on. Yeah. And I remember one time they had these things on called Moment Shines. And they had like they were dressed in all black. Remember they went
with the toilet paper.
No, they were
the toilet paper eyes.
No, that's yeah. It would be an expression. No, they were more like calendars. Like remember the rip away calendars? Like every day you rip the paper off and was just like, oh, that's day 1, day 2. And they would rip the paper off and would be emotions and shit like that. I'm like, whoa. You know, like you remember that shit though, right? Or are you just tripping balls?
Fuck yeah, I remember that.
All right. It's like, all right. Yeah, it was like exactly like toilet paper eyes, but it was like, oh my god, wild. I'm glad it's not just me.
No. This is something else that you're talking about, which I believe I slightly remember at some point. But wait, no, there's something with I gotta find it.
What was it? Was it on Sesame Street?
It was on Sesame Street or something. It was something on PBS, definitely.
Right.
But it was dressed all in black, and it was on a stage that was all black, and it danced around, and on its head,
yeah,
where a face should be, was just 2 giant like rolls of toilet paper, and it would like move its head like around, and then every once in a while it would like slap the toilet paper so the roll would spin and shit. It was fucked up.
Dude, it was probably one of those breaks that Sesame Street did. It was probably on Sesame Street where they would have this artsy shit.
It was like cutaway. Yeah.
It was like an artsy shit, you know, like in between. That's what the Moment Shines were. And they were creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Anyway,
so I put this up on the gram. Told people to tell us what your favorite bedtime story was.
Right.
And we got Random Picks NJ commented, "I spit on your grave."
Oh, really? Is that a story?
Huh?
A hell of a story. Is that a story?
It's a horror movie.
Oh, right.
So I commented with like shocked and scary faces and with the emoji with the scream.
Yeah.
And he says, "Takes all kinds, man. Takes all kinds."
Jesus Christ.
So so that's gonna do it for us talking about our favorites and stuff that we used to read to our kids and stuff like that. But John, we have a little surprise for our.
Little surprise for everybody.
Yes.
I know we do.
No.
This is the ultimate. I would say the ultimate bedtime story. And at one point, I think every parent in the world will say, "Yeah, this is how I feel." All right.
Hold on. All right.
I'm trying to pull it up too.
All right. So we are going to read. We're going to read to you. All right. Maybe you guys could play this as you are ready to drift off to sleep, and John and I could read this story to you, and maybe our soothing voices will help you get a good night's rest. Are you ready there, John?
Yeah, I'm ready. I had to get my glasses on. I had to pull it all up.
You fucking old bastard. So what's the name of this book, John?
This book is called Go the Fuck to Sleep.
By Adam Mansbach.
Once again, at some point in every parent's life, like, this is how you feel. And for the most part, I think maybe 50% of the time this is how you feel. And because, like, of the shitty day you're having, or maybe like your kids are just exceptionally shitty this day.
Yeah.
This is it. All right. So we're gonna read everybody a goodnight story. It's called Go the Fuck to Sleep. All right, so I'll start it.
Go ahead.
The cats nestle close to their kittens. The lambs have laid down with the sheep. You're cozy and warm in your bed, my dear. Please go the fuck to sleep.
The windows are dark in the town, child. The whales huddle down in the deep. I'll read you one very last book if you swear you'll go the fuck to sleep.
The eagles who soar through the sky are at rest, like creatures who crawl, run, and creep. I know you're not thirsty. That's bullshit. Stop lying. Lie the fuck down, my darling, and sleep.
The wind whispers soft through the grass, hun. The field mice, they make not a peep. It's been 38 minutes already. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Go to sleep.
I'm trying to pull myself here. All the nursery kids are in dreamland. The froggy has made his last leap. Hell no, you can't go to the bathroom. You know where to go. The fuck to sleep.
The owls fly forth from the treetops. Through the air they soar and they sweep. The hot crimson rage fills my heart, love. For real, shut the fuck up and sleep.
The cubs and the lions are snoring, wrapped in a big snuggly heap. How come you can do all this other great shit, but you can't lie the fuck down and sleep?
The seeds slumber beneath the earth now, and the crops that the farmers will reap. No more questions. This interview's over. I've got 2 words for you, kid. Fucking sleep.
The tiger reclines in the simmering jungle. The sparrow has silenced her creep. Or her cheap. I'm sorry. Fuck your stuff, bear. I'm not getting your shit. Close your eyes. Cut the crap. Sleep.
Flowers doze low in the meadows and high on the mountains, so steep. My life is a failure. I'm a shitty ass parent. Stop fucking with me, please, and sleep.
The giant pangolas of Madagascar are snoozing as I lay here and openly weep. Sure, fine, whatever. I'll bring you some milk. Who the fuck cares? You're not going to sleep.
This room is all I can remember. The furniture, crappy and cheap. You win. You escape. You run down the hall. As I nod the fuck off and John.
And sleep. There's more.
Oh, fuck. Go ahead.
Blearily and dazed, I awaken to find your eyes shut, so I keep my fingers crossed tight as I tiptoe away and pray that you're fucking asleep.
We're finally watching our movie. Popcorn's in the microwave. Beep. Oh, shit. God damn it. You've got to be kidding. Go the fuck back to sleep.
The end. Oh my God.
John?
Yes.
You got anything else you got to say?
This book, I'm just gonna say my boss actually showed me this book years ago, and I'm like, wow, this sums it all up. Because at the end of the fucking day, and I love how they're like the lions and the giraffes and the fucking cats and the dogs and all these fucking things. And all these mythical animals, they're all going to fucking sleep, and you ain't going to fucking sleep. Just go to fuck to sleep. And this book I fucking love. It's oh my God, it's so fucking funny. Whoever wrote this deserves every penny they got. So anyway.
So what do you got left to say?
Hey, have fun, everybody.
You've been listening to the Big Stupid Podcast, presented in part by Anchor. Interested in becoming a podcaster like us? Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place for free. Check out Anchor.fm today. Our theme music is licensed from BKFM Music Production through Audio Jungle. Visit AudioJungle.com for all your royalty-free music and sound needs. Further promotional considerations provided by PowerPod. Guests of the Big Stupid Podcast receive no compensation for their time, opinions, or any half-baked theories. If you think you can handle being part of the show, visit our social media sites and message us, or email John and Kevin at bigstupidpodcast@gmail.com. Not good enough for you? Okay, Mr. Big Boy Pants, you can call 201-338-0098 and leave us a message, and maybe we'll play it back on our next episode. Participants waive all rights to anything resembling coherence and or common sense. The Big Stupid Podcast is a production of Party Boss Productions Unlimited. No portion of this podcast may be repodcasted or otherwise transmitted in whole or part without the expressed written consent of Jen. It's on you to figure out which one. Good luck and have fun.